It's not the way the light hits the tops of the mountains. It's not the deep breaths you take under an open sky. It's not the promise of a warm fire surrounded by friends after a long, cold day. It's not that proud moment as you stand on top of the mountain you just climbed, as you drag yourself up, one grueling step at a time. None of this is what keeps you going, moving forward. But without any of this, there would be little reason to do it at all. For these aren't the reasons why you do it. These are the reasons that make it worth it. Two years ago, I embarked on what was probably one of the most influential and best experiences of my life, hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. During this, I challenged myself, met some truly amazing people, and gained some lifelong friends, and made too many memories to count. And after this, life felt a bit underwhelming. Something felt missing. I didn't realize how this new life would cost me my old one. How it would cost me my comfort zone, my sense of direction. But I'm glad it did. So I find myself here in the back of a pickup truck with old friends being driven to the middle of nowhere to start yet another hike across the country on the Continental Divide. A 4 to 5 month practice in living in the moment. You think about the finish line some 3,000 miles away, but you can't dwell on it. You sink into the process and not the end goal, despite it being your main motivator. A paradox in motion and slow progress. So now that you know about the adventure ahead, let's meet the characters of this year's story. 'Cause it feels like family. Feels like family. And I know, you know that crazy feeling. Feels like family. With the gang all together, some new faces, some old, all there was left to do was walk north. Whichever way that was.
I gotta dig a cow hole first.
It's odd how quickly it comes rushing back, this whole weird lifestyle we choose to embrace, with everything on our backs and needs simple again. Life of revolving around shade and water, which there was little of.
No water.
Hell.
Oh well, not like we need it or anything.
Mornings began early, and miles were slim. In an attempt to adjust to all-day hiking in a vague direction north, with sporadic signs leading the way. You did your best to keep yourself hydrated and shield yourself from the sun. But that was pretty difficult to do when all you would see is brush and barbed wire fences to cross. You'd finish your day with a sweaty brow, sore feet, after finding a nice patch of dirt to lie down in. If you could find one. Just got stabbed through the shoe for the third time. Welcome to the unforgiving desert, where nothing is gentle. There's freaking nothing out here. Nothing. Pretty sure Mars has more shade than New Mexico. Despite having just started, it felt like we had been walking for an eternity through this vast expanse of exposed desert that didn't seem to end. But it does. A quick stop to refuel our bellies and our packs, then back out to the land of sun-faded structures, where most places have been long since left behind. Some buildings abandoned, some buildings a bit odd and quirky, some buildings in the middle of nowhere, some buildings a little worse for wear, but all unique. A window into New Mexico's past, much of which we would learn about with a visit to the local museum. And most of these museums would be about mining. And by the end of this state, we could probably start our own mine with the amount of knowledge we had gathered. I was not expecting to go through this many trials this early with a pad that doesn't stay inflated, so I'm getting pretty terrible sleep, and the knee pain that has plagued me for like 75 miles. Even though it was early on in my hike, my body was not holding up how I'd like. This knee pain I was experiencing would be a consistent problem, and despite my best attempts at recovery, this pain would plague me for some time to come. I'm realizing more and more at how tough this trail is going to be, mentally and physically, both probably more than I realize. On the bright side, we found ourselves among the trees, and over 100 miles of walking, we finally found our first source of naturally flowing water. Cold and clean. Our thirst could finally be properly quenched. Over and over again. No matter what source of hydration the trail would offer, we were more than willing to accept. Sometimes in the form of a well-supplied water cache, sometimes in an old but functional pump or faucet, and sometimes in the less optimal conditions, a puddle mixed in. But typically, we would rely on the cows to share their water with us. Grimy, muddy, algae-filled cattle tanks are the main source of water throughout most of New Mexico, and would remain a consistent theme throughout the rest of the trail. So when you do come upon a natural fresh source of H2O, it's much more special. As the scenery slowly started to change into a more lush and forgiving environment, we would begin one of the many alternate routes on the CDT, along the Gila River. And in this stretch of high desert among the canyons and trees, we stumbled across one of the most interesting characters. A hermit named Doug.
When we had the fire here about 3 or 4 years ago.
Doug has lived on this piece of land for over 25 years alone. Doug doesn't make appearances often, but we were lucky enough to be his chosen conversation companions this month. He graciously offered to show us his humble camp and share the history of his old hermitage and his story. Most surprisingly, he offered us a cold glass of beer, which he brews himself. Doug was gracious enough to allow us to share this experience with you all. Yet Doug still enjoys his privacy. So if you're lucky enough to find yourself in Doug's neck of the woods, make sure to respect his boundaries and don't go looking for a free pint unless you're invited.
I don't do what I normally do today, where I came down and said hello, but I thought, if they see me,
Thanks again, Doug. Now on to face the Gila River. In this 55-mile stretch of river, we would cross it more than 200 times. Both a blessing and a curse. Both giving us refuge from the sun and exposure, but also leaving us wet and cold. In and out of the water all day. This would take its toll on my skin, drying it out to the point of splitting open, causing much pain and discomfort. But it wasn't all bad. We would take a rest at the Gila Hot Springs, near Doc Campbell's. Afterward, we would take a quick side detour to the Gila Cliff Dwellings to see how the natives would have lived thousands of years ago. And attempting to keep up a good pace, we were back in the sea of dry grass and endless stretches of dirt road, which we had come to know all too well. You can't talk about the CDT without talking about road walks, with around 30% of the official CDT being on some sort of road. You can always feel your body working, but the landscape never seems to change. You hear nothing but the sound of your own 2 feet marching forward on a small, narrow line. What was once a speck on the horizon is just now a slightly larger speck. With barbed wire fence on either side, the sun low on the horizon, even an insignificant beetle can cast a long shadow. You know you're not gaining much from all this road walking. You're slowly getting stronger and slowly gaining progress towards your goal. It's not glamorous, but it's necessary. As the days grew hotter and hotter, we would wake up earlier and earlier each morning to escape the midday sun. Temperatures rise quickly, all while your motivation and energy drop. So hiking before 6 a.m. was a must. Make sure to keep up with your routine, but as with most things, that doesn't always go to plan. But eventually along these dirt roads, you find the bustling metropolis of Pie Town. Famous for, believe it or not, pies. This trail town is home to one of the most notable stays of the CDT, the Toaster House, where hikers gather and where shoes go to die. This is also where one of our trail family members would gain a new trail name at the Ohana Cafe by breaking the all-you-can-eat biscuits and gravy record.
I'm gonna cry. Never, ever, ever again. I don't get how food, like competition eaters, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they stomach it, literally. Like.
Well, this section has had some longer water carries, like 14, 18 miles, so nothing crazy. But I still somehow find myself with like a liter or so left when I hit another water source. So I've been trying to think of ways to allow myself to drink more water throughout the day. And I think I found one. And I think it'll work quite nicely.
I got my head in the clouds. Hey mama, look at me now. I finally figured it out. I can do anything, anything. I'm standing here in the light, staring at sun in the eyes. There ain't no change in my mind. I can do anything, anything. I'm out here having the time of my life. What could be better? Yeah, all me, all mine, just enjoying the ride like it's now or never, ever.
For a moment, we left the dirt roads behind for our first taste of elevation.
Feeling like a four-leaf clover. Wouldn't wanna be anyone else. Won't settle for the mediocre. Think I'd rather just be myself. Finally figured out. Oh, just look at me now. I can be anything, anything. I'm out here having the time of my life. What could be better? Yeah, all me, all mine, just enjoying the ride like it's now or never,
Northward. The farther north we went, the steeper and wetter the landscape became. Slowly dry desert turned into wet, soggy hills and snow-scattered slopes. In the beginning, we constantly searched for water, but now we couldn't get away from it. Multiple water crossings a day were a common obstacle. As the pace increased and the path forward grew more difficult, I struggled to keep up and make it through each day. All of us began to see how difficult the trail forward would be. We all did our best to keep morale high.
Excuse me, please close the gate.
I'm sorry. Got a problem.
But we all saw the writing on the wall. We all knew how difficult and uncomfortable the rest of New Mexico and Colorado would be. For the only time we would find a bit of comfort would be at the end of the day at a warm fire. We would struggle to get started.
Do you have another pair? Thankfully I did. I used to carry it like...
But despite the struggle, we continued onward, doing our best to hike around 25 miles a day. The pace slowed as the footing worsened, along with the terrain and ever-increasing altitude. Yet we felt the ever-growing draw of the end of this state, our first major milestone that would give us some sort of reward for all this work we had put in. Some sort of end in sight made it a bit easier, at least for a while. Well, we are closing in on the border of New Mexico and Colorado. Very exciting. Woo! Border!
Goodbye. Good riddance.
One state down. 3 to go, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like not really a good time. Here's to New Mexico.
New Mexico!
And to Colorado.
And to
Here
great
we come.
traveling companions.
Cheers,
y'all. Congratulations.
With New Mexico done, it was time for a little fun and celebration. Holy shit! Oh my gosh. Another one bites the dust.
Face plant, no less.
Now that New Mexico was complete, it was time to prepare ourselves for the massive amounts of snow still left on Colorado's mountaintops. With worn out gear and no place to resupply, it's time to make our way to Santa Fe to fuel up, gear up, and most importantly, relax.
Yes.
Buddy. Bathtub living.
Yeah, why do we hike? Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't.
From the very first steps, it was apparent that Colorado wasn't going to come easy. Every step of the path forward was laden with snow or sheer ridges to climb. Every step day in and day out would test our resolve. Despite being armed with microspikes and snowshoes, the going was slow. Averaging about 1.5 miles an hour for 5 days straight was both exhausting and disheartening. Endless snow that would swallow your feet as the day grew hotter and the snow grew softer. Therefore, mornings would start early when the tops of the snow were still frozen and we could walk without sinking.
It is 5:45 in the morning. Everything we woke up to this morning was frozen. Shoes, socks, you name it. And now let's go get our feet wet. And have fun hiking, huh?
Let's do this thing.
Oh yeah.
Flowing water also became scarce. Even though we were surrounded by water, it simply took too much effort and time to melt the snow. We would gather what we could when we found a flowing source. up and down an elevation we weren't quite used to. Snow's pretty difficult to get through, and a lot of climbing at 12,000 feet. It's usually takes us about 12 hours of hiking to go like 20 miles or so. I had been looking forward to this challenge of Colorado, but with the state I was in, it was definitely tough to manage. And just like New Mexico, hiking was exposed, and you felt like a tiny speck in a sea of vast open space. Only this was the exact opposite type of sea.
We made it to the South San Juans!
Whoop-hoo!
That's a great. You'll love to see it.
We're doing it. Getting there, I guess. I don't know where we're going.
Wowzers.
Somebody took a tumble.
Oh, god damn, dude.
Woo! Woo!
Jesus. I need to fight.
Go find some medical supplies in town.
19 or 20.
It's been a long, tough couple of days. Despite all the struggles and tiredness, it wasn't all bad. For what goes up must come down.
Yo! That is sick.
Yeah! Yeah, boy!
Okay, I can't breathe.
I can't either. That's
Woo!
fantastic, though.
That was sick. Oh, all right. My feet are cold.
I know. I can stand walking in post holes. I can stand post holing. But I can't stand post holing inside post holes.
For if it was the miles of snow slowing us down,
Love it.
it was the deadfall. At the end of our first section of Colorado, we found solace in a ski cabin to decompress and rest our tired bones. Our bodies and our pride had been beaten. But fortunately, there are few things that a good town day can't fix.
It's grease. Makes you feel whole again, you know?
I'm a whole new person.
Southern Colorado had taken its toll on us, some more than others. Morale started to dwindle, and for Wiggles, he had decided he had his fill, and decided this wasn't his year. As for the rest of the group, we had decided to split into smaller groups for a while, but most of us would eventually regroup and continue hiking the rest of the trail together.
The views after a big climb are always so great. Unbeatable. Good morning. It's quite crisp. Another morning of frozen shoes. But honestly, kind of better than wet shoes. Hard to get on, but somehow warmer.
We would attempt to escape the snow by taking an alternate route into the small town of Creed, all while trying to take our minds off the trail ahead and have a bit of friendly competition along the way, if that's what you'd call it. fully settled into the groove, with things starting to shift. Your thoughts, your feelings, many things you notice are already not the same as when you started walking. It's inevitable. Your face will change. You'll notice how long your hair has gotten and how much thinner you are. Your feet will change.
State of my feet.
Your body will change. And above all, your motivations change. You are no longer worried about how you're going to get up this hill, or where your next water source is, or if you have enough food to get to town. The only thing that does change is the landscape. The milestones come and go.
1,000 miles, baby!
It was surprising to see how quickly the novelty wore off, for the monotony had set in hundreds of miles ago, leaving me numb surrounding the daily routine you find yourself repeating. You wake up, pack your bags, and get moving. Fill your water, see some views. You eat dinner, set up camp, and go to bed. And the loop starts over. But after a while, it just becomes the same three things. Eat, sleep, hike, repeat. The same three. Eat, sleep, hike, repeat. Eat, sleep, hike, repeat. Eat, sleep, hike, repeat. And the only thing that isn't the same are the things you choose to amuse yourself with and the ways you try to challenge yourself. And that's when I noticed all the little games we'd play, the fun bits we'd do, all those small moments that break through the monotony. It was the things I chose to do that made life happen, that made memories. These were the things that kept me going and made this journey worth it. Made it fun for myself and hopefully those around me. It was all the little things along the way.
and we are off to climb Grace Peak. Highest point on trail. And should be a good day. A lot of elevation yesterday, but that's all right. Well, we made it! Woo-hoo! This is as high as we go. Trail, all downhill.
Things began to get easier. The climbs became less of a challenge, and my knee troubles had gone away.
After walking pretty much all of yesterday on the road, finally we get back to another road. And this one, temptation to hitch is quite strong. So, I don't know. Do my best, but I'm just a man who wants town food.
With most of the difficult terrain of Colorado behind us, we would continue until we found ourselves at the last town of Colorado. We feasted and relaxed, as we do. During my morning resupply, I'd thought of a challenge for the group, to see who could resupply the fastest in the spirit of friendly competition. And later that morning, we would find the gang at the starting line.
Have you ever been to a start line before? I'm at the pole. Go!
a great game, and an unlikely winner. The last section of Colorado would be one of my favorites of the state. With great views, plenty of water, and less snow. Although, there are always obstacles to challenge you. For instance, mosquitoes.
It's a little buggy.
In my eyes. Careful. Remember when I was in the outfitter and I was like looking around, I'm like, I know I'm forgetting something, I need to buy something.
Yeah.
DEET. Why
DEET.
didn't I buy DEET?
Today, it's been another very rough day. Very hot, not a ton of water. I'm just itchy all over from mosquito bites. So many bugs. And yesterday, got something in my eye that didn't go away. Pretty sure it's still in there. And really painful. It's in a pretty bad mood when you have 7 different things making you in pain and in being miserable.
Despite many discomforts, spirits were high. For the views were amazing, and we were approaching the end of Colorado.
Oh, here we go! This is phenomenal. Done with Colorado. New state. What's it to you?
Although we didn't want to leave Colorado's beauty behind, we were ready for something new. New landscapes, new challenges, and mostly less elevation.
Yeehaw! Woo! All right.
Good morning, and welcome to Wyoming. Feels good to be here. Got some flatter, easier miles in the basin ahead of us. Colorado, definitely a challenge, and that's now behind us. We're over halfway there. Finally found a water crossing with a bridge. If only they just put it right there, though. No matter how low you get in life, just remember, you won't be as pointless as this bridge. Why? There's 7,000 streams, and you choose 3 to put a bridge on? Come on. Apparently, there's still snow in Wyoming, too. It just won't end.
And after a day of hiking, we made it to the first stop in Wyoming, the tiny town of Encampment, where all the odd and unique things you find in a rural desert town exist.
Well, I don't have anything for you. You pet goats?
And the worn-out old shoes that got me through Colorado were laid to rest for a much-needed replacement. And finally, after 1,200 plus miles of hiking, we found our first hot roller. It was a good day.
That's better than I remember, right?
With open land and easy walking ahead, a desire to crush some miles could only mean one thing.
Good morning. It's about 3:30.
get cracking.
For Pez and I, this would mean we would take on the 24-hour challenge.
Good morning. It's currently 4:30. I am off on the 24-hour challenge. Hiking for 24 hours, see how many miles we get. Excited, nervous, determined. And all there's left to do is hike. So here we go.
It's about 5 o'clock, and I'd normally just be getting up at this time. But instead I've hiked a little over 3 miles. It's not the best pace, but the trail's been kind of hard to follow so far. There's been some blowdowns, but we're definitely not behind. Not a bad sunrise. Can't really enjoy it though. Gotta keep moving.
Filter on the go. Gotta keep it moving.
This is awful.
It's hot. It's windy. Feet hurt. I've gone 37 miles, but it's lunchtime.
40 miles done. Still got about 14 hours left. It's a lot of time, but pace is good. Chafing, not great. Hips hurting as usual. Feet a little sore, but other than that, doing okay.
Hey, I figured since we have all this time to kill, I might share some behind-the-scenes info that Poseidon won't show you about his movie. First order of business would be, it's a little shocking, it's all faked. What we do is we put some dirt on Poseidon's face. He hops on a treadmill with a green screen behind him, and all that footage you see, the beautiful landscapes, the drone shots, that's me. I'm out here, I'm hiking this thing. I let him know how hard the section is. He gets up off the couch onto a treadmill, and I think he does a good job. I'm not knocking him, but yeah, it's just a little movie magic, just show business. Just out of respect to the audience, I just thought you guys should know. It's about 12 and a half hours in, a little over 40 miles, and the rain seems to have started. These spooky clouds. Let's get to Rollins.
Of course, gotta have a little rain. I wouldn't be hiking the CDT now, would it?
This son of a gun.
Good to see ya. Look who I found.
Well,
Mile 60. It is dinner time. The sun is just setting. Now the night hiking begins. The real grind.
This is where it gets hard.
Yeah. Got the vibes bumping. Trying to keep the energy up on this long night walk. So far, so good. Having a great time. Just got to the edge of town. Good to see Rollins. But I'm not done yet. I've made it to downtown Rollins, which is 75 miles for the day. But not done. It is currently 1 o'clock, 1:15. Got 3 hours left. So I'm gonna keep hiking. Even though I really don't want to. All right, I'm on the last mile of my 24-hour challenge, where I will be finishing the day with 80 miles. 80. Beats my previous record by 2. Glad to have beaten it, but I'm hurting, so I'm calling it a night, hitting the hotel, and fall asleep for a couple days.
Back to the dry desert, reminiscent of New Mexico, where the land is bare and the water is scarce. To the type of land we had come to know all too well. Dirt roads, hot open sky, and sharing water with the cattle. Frankly, we spent a lot of time with the cows, for better or for worse. With the itch to finish growing ever stronger, we started hiking around 25 to 30 miles a day. With nothing much to see or do in Wyoming's Great Basin, hiking was the only thing to do anyway. And the only landmarks were murky ponds, or in a few lucky cases, a well-stocked water cache. Days out in the open made for some picturesque horizons and memorable sunsets. But sooner or later, we were beneath those clouds. And with nowhere to hide, facing the wind and rain made some days a struggle. Feeling accomplished with the amount of ground we had covered over the last several days, we were ready for something new. Something that had been teasing us far in the distance. For the Wind River Range was waiting. Trading the sand and sagebrush for once again, trees and sheer granite peaks. The contrast in what seemed like a few short miles would continue to show the duality of this trail, going from one extreme to the other. Filled with stunning mountains and pristine waters, the Wind River Range would be one of my favorite sections on the CDT. Climbing seemed to come easy, and miles seemed to fly by, which allowed us to stop and smell the flowers. And what I had been missing, this whole trail would finally be in abundance. Alpine lakes.
Oh, what a beautiful day. Rinse it off.
There's no getting through a thru hike without finding balance. There must be moments of hard hiking and moments of easy relaxing. There must be days of feasts and days of famine. Just as you need days of rain to appreciate the sun, and just as you need long, difficult climbs to appreciate the effortless valleys. Without the lows, the highs don't mean the same.
Well, today marks day 100 on the trail. Triple digits. Pretty wild.
This brief section would honestly feel like a dream. A dream that would end too soon.
Getting used to the rain. Used to hate it. Now it's not so terrible, but as long as it doesn't last for more than a day or two, I'm all right with it.
It would rain for the next 9 days.
I take back what I said about liking the rain. I don't like it.
Soaking wet would become the state of existence for a while. Something we would attempt to get used to. But after the first few days of rain, we would take shelter in the small town of Du Bois. We would wait and try and let the weather system pass, but it never did. But on the bright side, Du Bois would become one of our favorite trail towns due to its unique charm. But we could only stay so long. With what we thought was a break in the weather, we were back out, only to face a new obstacle. Mud. Sticky, slippery mud. That was, at least, until the rain started again.
How about this rain, huh? Rain? What rain? It's all ice. That's true.
Yet we still continued a good pace, and we'd take breaks when there was a break in the rain.
Horses don't like the rain either. We're not happy about it.
And at last, we entered the final major section of Wyoming.
This is the first time in about 8 or 9 days where I've had sun for more than an hour. And boy does it feel good. My mood is up. Even though I'm very tired, doesn't matter. Sun's out. Everything's wet anyway. What does it matter?
That's a good point.
The rain would eventually stop. We would be able to dry out all our gear and enjoy the rest of the state, taking in Yellowstone National Park in all its glory, making sure to see all the pools and geysers along the way.
If you ever eaten lunch by yourself in heavy bear country, make sure you do a bear check every now and then, you know? Hello? Bears? Got some good. It's pretty nuts. You can feel the whole ground just rumbling right here. Pretty neat. Well, today's our last day in Yellowstone National Park, and therefore last day in Wyoming. Wyoming has been phenomenal, probably my favorite state this far, but I'm quite excited to move on and enter my home state of Montana. So, quite looking forward to that, and we'll be in West Yellowstone. Did it? Last state, Montana. Can you believe it?
Praise be.
Praise be. Oh, yeah.
Another state down. And with tired out old clothes, we figured it was time for a much needed upgrade.
Oh, hey, what's happening? See the way I walk, I'm a bad man. I'm the major, I'm the general and captain. No heart, I can see it in your CAT scan. Oh man, someone tell them I'm a savage and a monster. And I don't really care, I don't wanna talk, I just make them disappear. Hush your mouth when I come around. Shut your mouth. Make one more move and we gon' run them down.
Perfect.
All right, I can do that.
We had been out there for a while now, but it was the final state, and it felt good. We would continue north along the Big Sky alternate, hitting a few areas close to home for me. One of our favorite aspects about this trail is that it allowed you to go anywhere you wanted. Take the route that best fit your interests or needs. You can choose your own adventure, and you're not forced to walk on a single trail north. You can either take the scenic route or cut off unwanted mileage. And we were ready to make some big miles and soak in the rest of the trail we had left.
I'm still out here and I'm still moving along, still wondering
We may have been tired and wrung out by now, but there were very few things that could stop us.
Can't get a hitch to save my life. Sheesh.
Maybe it was the feeling of the trail starting to end, or the reminiscing about the beginning of trail, which felt like a lifetime ago. But I was happy hiking, and after this long, the monotony had gone, and all there was left was simplicity. One thing I've learned on this whole weird migration we call a thru hike is how to live with less and how healing it can be. For it is said that the soul does not grow by addition, but by subtraction. By keeping my needs simple, my wants are few, yet more meaningful. And despite all the 30-mile days, I still found time to enjoy myself, to sit and be content with where I was. With mileage still getting larger as we went, we supplied in the small town of Augusta, making sure to account for our ever-growing hiker hunger.
It's like we're past the state of regular hiker hunger, we're at advanced hiker hunger.
The Bob Marshall will do.
That's serious. Bears in there.
As you can see behind me, we've made it to the Chinese Wall. Pretty spectacular view. Yeah, no. It is incredibly cloudy. You can't see anything. Which sucks.
But we'd eventually get a glimpse. And despite the rain, it didn't bother us much at this point. Frankly, nothing really did anymore. For the mindset you've created over the past 2,000 some miles makes any obstacle just part of the routine. For whatever it is, it won't last long. And all the unexpected difficulties and trials fall off you like water on a freshly treated rain jacket. And that vague direction north we were searching for all this time felt like we were there. We could feel the landscape slowly changing into something more grand. And then all of a sudden, you could see it. The glimpse of the striking gray mountains that made it quite clear that we had made it to Glacier National Park, the final section. East Glacier, the last town on the CDT. We would take a quick hitch to the ranger station to get our backcountry permits for the 5 nights we'd be spending in the national park. After hitching back, we would take a quick rest at the local hostel and head out the next morning after grabbing some very important celebratory items. Well, last town, East Glacier was great, but it's time to go enjoy some glacier hiking, finish this trail.
Welcome to Glacier, everyone.
Glacier.
It was the final section, and we were ready. And frankly, I wasn't sure my gear could hold out much longer. We had less than 100 miles left to go, with nothing but the most gorgeous wilderness of trail to explore. It was just amazing views and lots of wildlife.
Wouldn't be the CDT if it didn't give us one last miserable day of rain. Now would it?
We had 3 days left, and thanks to our mandatory camping spots in the national park, we only needed to hike around 15 to 20 miles a day, which gave us a lot of time to relax and have some fun. This also gave us time to enjoy each other's company while we still could. For I could feel the end of this journey drawing near, for the trail starting to end. Almost like Canada could be just over the horizon at any moment. And despite being so tired, ready to complete this hike and finally rest, some part of you never wants it to end. For soon, this experience would be just some old photograph, some old story. Well, somehow,
It's the last morning on the CDT. Only 7 miles left. Doesn't feel real, hasn't sunk in. Don't know if it will until I'm done. Well, half a mile left.
Half a mile, 10 minutes
10 minutes.
to Canada.
And first one there wins. Go, go, go! Who would have thought?
The trail does things.
You can walk to Canada. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Congrats, boys!
Good job, everybody! Woo!
Despite doing what I set out to do, making it to the end, passing the final test. Those feelings of joy, pride, and relief didn't fully satisfy me. Because I wasn't hiking for Canada, for some piece of concrete that marks borders, for the end. It was all for a chance to have those moments in between. So if you ever find yourself on a long walk far from home, do me a favor. Make your life happen. Be brave. Challenge yourself. Leave your comfort zone. Go see the grand, distant places. Let the process run its course. And above all, enjoy the little moments along the way.